to go to work and wanting to continue the
work for
success.
yourself.
Because I work for myself.
Making money, I'm the finance gal, right? So I always talk about money and numbers and profitability. So how is that going? How do you manage that? How do you know if your business is profitable? Because some people say, oh, my business is good, but they can only talk about the gross revenues. For some reason, after they get past that line on the financial statement, it becomes a little blurry. You see, it becomes blurry when I start talking about cost of goods sold or gross profit margins and what are your operating expenses to your revenue streams. And then, of course, we love the net profit. That gets even blurrier.
Any of that. Can you pay your bills on time?
Hey, that's money. That's cash. That's profits.
Do you pay your rent on time?
That's critical. Isn't that critical? And you have money to travel.
Are people calling up going, how come I don't have my money?
Right. No bill collectors, right?
Successful or not.
Right.
We're such a small, we're so small that we have an idea. But when you sell something for $1,000, what's profit? Only about 200 of it. Maximum.
Okay.
Because you take labor, insurance, inventory, everything. You take everything out of it, and people think, oh, you're doubling your money. A friend comes in and says, you paid $500 for that, and you're selling it for $1,000. I'll give you $500. I go, no. The day my employee touched it, it cost me $8 for that hour.
Correct.
Right.
You have all
went
these
into
costs.
the store and turned on the lights, it's costing you.
It does. The operating expenses.
So,
absolutely.
But you still know. You know when you're doing it, and you know if you have a bad month.
So you've been in the business a long time. I think for you, because since you've been selling since 8 years old on the floor, you probably have a better feel. But for people who are newer into the game, they may not have that kind of sense of profitability and knowing.
But
I
even
use
if they use
QuickBooks.
it.
And I look at reports every Sunday, every week. I print out reports because I want to see bestsellers because it's only going to make me become a better buyer and understand my customers more and their sizing, needs, all of that. So it's important for me, and probably because of my background and working in big box retailers.
What about you guys? How are you looking at it if you're profitable? I know we've worked on this.
Well, I turned to Gwen. I'm kind of more on the Gus front. I mean, I'm more of a visual person, and I understand all of the numbers, and I understand what to look at, and I do a lot of my accounting. But I mean, Gwendolyn, I remember last time you came in, you're like, what's your inventory? And I was like, and you're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm looking around, giving you a number. Because for me, I know what sells, and I know what moves, and I know visually how much. I know visually my inventory.
That's a big one.
And I know what to, get more of. But I have the computer system. I have, the accountant, the bookkeeper. I have all that. And I can look at it, and every once in a while, I go into a panic, and I call Gwen. I'm like, okay, Gwen, you need to come in and help me.
And sometimes what I try to do, I try to get any small business to look at their business from a financial perspective, because they'll come to me and they want to make a decision, but they have no clue what's going on financially in their business. And most small businesses are in business, yes, for the joy of it, but also to become financially independent in many ways, right? And if you don't have a clue, or what I call cash consciousness of what's going on in your business, then how do you become financially independent if you're not connected to it? You see what I'm saying? My goal is to get businesses to be connected to their business in many ways, and one of the most important ways I think they have to be connected to their business is from a financial perspective. So how is e-commerce going? Because that's so huge now.
Actually, last year, I kind of knew that I needed to, because I have the web business, the e-commerce business, and I have a store. And I knew that the two of them didn't make the equal amounts of money. They had different expenditures, different marketing, So I hired a financial person to kind of help me break it down in QuickBooks so I can, bucket all my expenses for e-commerce and look at the businesses. So, and plus this year I'm planning to do wholesale. So it's a separate, another third business.
Wow.
So I wanted to be able to measure the success or the failure or what I needed to adjust in each business.
Absolutely, because now you have 3 different models of revenue.
Correct, yes.
Right.
But it's such a different model, going going from brick and mortar to online, because I used to just be brick and mortar, and then I now have 2 online stores.
Yes, I know. We're
And
talking
it's,
about it. How important
you
it
know,
was.
You know, we just started to sell furniture, for example, online.
Oh, really?
We don't carry it in the store, but we figure why not feature it, because
Oh,
it's a
great.
dropship program.
Yes.
Excellent.
But what I find is, how do we differentiate ourselves from all the other ones? And they're all offering free shipping. So your margins change online.